Welcome to everyone joining us today to hear about tips on passing the IELTS exam. As you all know, you've heard the term IELTS exam, whether you were talking about schools or education or coming to the US and working here on an employment-based visa. We've all heard the term IELTS. Now, what is the IELTS and how do you accomplish in passing that and starting the next phase, right? That's what I'm here to talk to you all about. My name is Steffi John, and I'm an international recruiter with Conexus MedStaff. And we're so excited that you've decided to join me to listen about this. It won't be too long. It'll take about 20-25 minutes. And like I said, at the end of this presentation, we will go over questions. So down below on your screen, there is a Q&A button. Please press on that and ask any questions that you have. All right, so IELTS exam. All right, let's start with some questions that are frequently asked about this exam. First off, what does the IELTS stand for? It stands for International English Language Testing System. So it is a group that kind of works on really navigating and understanding what your English proficiency is. So the next question, what is the IELTS exam? What is it, right? It's an English proficiency exam that's required for the issuance of your visa screen. And the visa screen is required by US immigration. So there is no way we can bypass it. We can't overlook it. It does need to be included in your visa screen. And we'll talk a lot more about the why later on in the later slides, okay? Where can I take the IELTS exam? There are more than 1,600 testing locations in over 140 countries. So it's all around you. If it's not in your local area, there is going to be one in your vicinity. And if you go on their website and you put in your address, they will be able to pull up the closest location to where you're living or staying currently. And then if you want help with that, we can definitely kind of give you some guidance as well. Are there various types of IELTS exam? I think this is a very, very important question that everybody should really hear the answer and understand it. So there are two types of exams, IELTS exams, and that's the academic and the general exam. For the US immigration purposes, we will need the academic IELTS, and that's very, very important to know and understand. So for immigration and your visa screen process, we need the academic. What is the required score? There are 5 seconds. Oh, sorry, I can't talk this morning. What are the required scores? So there are 4 sections of the IELTS, and unfortunately, you cannot, choose to take one part of the section or, one section and not the other. All 4 does need to be completed, which are listening, reading, writing, and speaking. But in regards to US immigration, what we are requiring is a minimum of 6.5 overall score and 7.5 in speaking. And this is not, a guidance or requirements that were set by Conexus MedStaff. This actually comes from the US immigration themselves. This is what they have said we need for an IELTS exam. Overall of 6.5. And a 7.5 in speaking. And like I said, this is set by the US government. And don't forget, it does have to be an academic exam. All right. Now, what is the cost of this exam? How much is this going to cost me? So it does range based on the country you take the exam in, because of course you'll be paying in that currency, right? But the average cost for an IELTS exam is $200 US. Okay. Why do I need to take the IELTS? Why is this, I told you earlier that we talked about the why, right? Why do I need this English proficiency exam? The first top reason, if you are looking to get an employment visa to move here to the United States, is the visa screen. The visa screen is something that needs to be completed for all foreign nationals and that want or is looking for a permanent or temporary employment visa. So just to go over that one more time, it is needed for the visa screen, and for visa screen, you need that. All foreign technical difficulty. I hope everyone can still hear me. But back to what I was saying. So everyone will need an IELTS exam in order to complete their visa screen. And for the issuance of visa screen, the USCIS, of course, requires you to pass the academic IELTS. So I hope that really clarifies on why you need it. And now, if you are a nurse and you're asking about the NCLEX licenses, do you need a valid IELTS for the license endorsement? This is a tricky question, but the answer is yes. So depending on the state that you're endorsing your license for, the IELTS will be necessary. Okay. How should you prepare for this exam? You know, what all should you do? There are plenty of review courses. You can find material online. The IELTS website themselves have some review material. The review courses that you can take from an outside source that really helps you train. But honestly, incorporating this in your day-to-day activity is the key point of this, key factor of passing. I talked to several international candidates like yourselves, you know, nurses, medical technologists, and have asked what or how were you successful in completing the IELTS exam? And they, time and time again, had told me it's from including English into the day-to-day activities, like watching English television shows where they're really enunciating the language, reading English novels, speaking it in a daily, conversation, listening to different podcasts, and of course, like I mentioned before, doing those questions in the practice books. We're going online and finding some questionnaire. The IELTS preparation resource materials can be found online, like I said, or you can purchase a book. There are a lot of materials out there for you to review it. When should I take the IELTS? Now, this is one of my favorite questions because with immigration, everything is about a timeline, right? When should you do something for the best for your immigration process, for it to impact your immigration the best way, right? So as far as Conexus' filing practices, what we do for your visa screen is we wait for your initial petition to be filed and approved. Once your initial immigration has been filed, the petition has been approved, that's when we're going to start the visa screen process. So we'll always tell all of our candidates, make sure you're reviewing and are going to be ready for this exam when you're told to complete it. Our immigration team, when you're at that phase, will come to you and say, hey, I'm just going to make up a candidate's name, but John Smith, it's almost time for your visa screen process. Please start taking your IELTS exam or start reviewing it, scheduling it, you know, what needs to be done. So we'll guide you on that process. The IELTS will absolutely be done and required before the embassy interview, for sure. So the visa screen process takes place before that. Now, this is a tricky bullet point. So I'm going to kind of go through it a little bit slower. So I'm hoping everybody will understand clearly, but we can definitely go back and answer questions about it. The score for an IELTS exam is valid for 2 years. So after 2 years, it's not valid anymore. So if you haven't completed your visa screen in the 2 years, that IELTS is not valid and you have to take it again. For visa screen purposes, if you take the IELTS today, okay, your visa screen gets processed tomorrow. Now you don't have to worry about the IELTS exam for 5 years because a visa screen is valid for 5 years. So as long as your visa screen is completed before your IELTS expires, that is valid for 5 years. I hope that made sense to you. Awesome. So like I said, this is a short presentation where we just wanted to give you some basic ideas of the IELTS exam, what it is, how you should go about taking the exam and things like that. Now, if you all have any questions at all, please use the Q&A function down below to ask these questions and tell me what would you like to know more about the IELTS. I guess I did such a good job in explaining it. I mean, it's like no one has any questions. Here at Conexus, we're all about educating our candidates, our nurses, our medical technologists, giving them all the information, all tools that they need so they can make successful decisions for themselves. Like this presentation is so that you truly understand when your recruiter says, hey, I'm going to need you to take that IELTS exam, you want to understand why do I need to take it? How much is this going to cost me? How will I pass it? So we just wanted to come in here and really identify this and speak to you about these concerns that you guys have brought to us to make sure that you guys have a clear picture of what the IELTS is. So I really hope this was informational and you got all of the information that you need. If you're not already a candidate with Conexus MedStaff and you're interested in moving here to the United States and working as a nurse or medical technologist, please do visit our site and apply. Click that button to apply now. If you have questions about anything that was discussed here, we will be sending you an email after this so we can answer those questions. My name is Steph. Oh, I got a question here. Let's look at it. Okay, someone has asked, thank you for the short lecture. Must I have written NCLEX before the visa screen? Yes, that is correct. And so this is because the NCLEX is kind of difficult to say the timeline for an NCLEX, right? You kind of have to do it on your studying, how you're reviewing and things like that. So I don't want you to take an IELTS right now and do your visa screen and then you didn't get your NCLEX completed in 5 years, and now the visa screen is not valid, right? So we would definitely start with the NCLEX license first before visa screen, because visa screen is going to be started after your immigration petition has begun. And unfortunately, we cannot do that unless you have all things necessary to fulfill that job here in the US. So if you're a nurse, we do need an NCLEX before we can start anything in immigration. And the visa screen is part of the immigration journey. Okay, someone has asked about the score. I think I might have misspoke. And I'm so glad that you've asked me this question. That way I can clarify to everybody. But the question is the band score 7.5 for speaking? Because based on my previous knowledge, it's 7.0. And you are absolutely right. I'm so sorry about that mistake. It must have been a typo on my behalf. It is band score for 7.0 for speaking. So let me just go back to that again. For the visa screen, you need an academic IELTS exam with an overall score of 6.5 and speaking of 7.0. So yes, you are absolutely right. I don't have the name listed here, but I just want to say thank you for clarifying that with me because you are right. And then the next question says, does Conexus cover the IELTS exam fees? Conexus, what we will say is ask you to go ahead and pay for the exam when it's necessary. And then once your visa is all cleared and you're here in the United States, you give us that receipt for your IELTS exam and we will reimburse you. We will give you the money back for what you've spent on the IELTS exam. All right, I think those are all the questions that I received. So like I said, we will be following up with everyone that attended today. One more question came up. Can my visa screen be processed with IELTS results while I prepare for NCLEX RN? As part of Conexus's filing practices, we do not process visa screens before you've completed your NCLEX. We only process it while you're going through the immigration process. I hope that was clear. All right. I think that was the last of the question. Again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day today to join me and listening all about this, the IELTS exam and what it takes to complete it. I am so happy that, I was the recruiter that was able to present this all to you guys. Have a wonderful day. I really hope you enjoy. Oh, sorry, someone has messaged me asking to explain what I just said right now. As part of Conexus filing process, we do not begin visa screen before the NCLEX. So the NCLEX has to be done before visa screen is started as far as Conexus goes. That's our filing practices. We do not begin visa screen before the NCLEX RN has been completed. I hope that was clear. Please let me know if that was clear. Okay, I think that was clear. Just want to reiterate what I just said. The question was, can my visa screen be processed with my IELTS results while I prepare for the NCLEX exam? Unfortunately, the answer is no. The visa screen can only be processed during that immigration petition process, which cannot be started until the NCLEX RN has been completed. So the answer is no, unfortunately. But thank you again, guys, for joining me. I am so thankful for being able to, speak to you guys and really give you guys this knowledge about the IELTS exam. Like I mentioned, we are available for any questions at all. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.